I thought maybe we could discuss what could be a very uncomfortable topic, especially for believers, which is transgenderism. I've seen for the last several years, it's just really boiling up online, right? It feels like it's at a boiling point. You're seeing signs in major cities telling trans people to take up arms, protect themselves. You're seeing this really strong divide and extremes of both ends. And why should Christians even care? Why should followers of Jesus even care? Like, how do you handle it as a Christian or a pastor? What does that look like for the church and for us as individuals? And I think you have to look at this from two sides of it. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. Number one, looking at an individual is different than looking at a movement or an agenda. Every single one of us are trying to navigate a fallen world as individuals. And what happens is we look at this world through the lens of our lives, through what we've experienced in the past, what we've been taught, the voices we listen to, the pain, or what we've gone through in life, what people have called us. And it shapes unhealthy and broken lens, but it shapes the lens we look at this life. And so we're all struggling with something. We're all flawed. We're all trying to see God heal that incorrect lens or viewpoint, heal our minds to see his plan for our life. So you can look at an individual with empathy and understanding. That's different than talking about a movement and an agenda, because a movement and an agenda is trying to indoctrinate the masses. It's trying to shift culture to a different viewpoint. And this is much more spiritual than we try to make it. This is the greatest area of spiritual attack by the enemy, is to try to get you to question your identity in God. If he can reshape your identity, he can reshape the direction of your life. And this is where you have to understand, if you think you were created wrong, if you think God messed up with you, if you think when you came out of the mother's womb, it was incorrect, how can you ever trust your creator? If you think your creator's flawed, how can you ever trust his sovereignty and his leadership in your life? And that's exactly why the devil's trying to attack identities. A.W. Tozer says, the most important thing about us is how we think about God, how our mind opens up to God. It's why Paul says, to only be transformed, you have to change the way you think. We have to change the lens of this fallen world. See the goodness of God and his identity. This is why it is so important to speak into our children's lives godly identity. They're masterpieces in God, which means they're extremely valuable to God. They're not accidents or mistakes. They are made anew in Christ Jesus, which means their identity is in Jesus, not this fallen world and not with fallen people. And they're created for a purpose long ago, a good purpose. They're created to matter and to make a positive difference in this world. We have to be speaking those things into our children. We have to be speaking those things into our churches. We have to be speaking those things in our community. And we have to point them to Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the life. The only way to the Father is through him. The only way to freedom, the only way to fulfillment, the only way for your soul, those aches and groans of your soul to be satisfied, is found in Jesus. This is much more spiritual than we like to make it.